Meeting with a financial advisor for the first time can be a little bit of an off-putting experience. We have a whole lot of jargon and processes and routines and requirements and obligations that we work through, and that can make it feel like a bit of a foreign experience. It can be a little bit isolating or alienating. So what I thought I'd do is just put together as quick a video as I can and cover off some of the requirements that we need to meet and why they're actually applicable for you. And maybe we'll talk about why you can ignore some of them. So when we first meet, we'll have had a chat on the phone. You'll have received a series of emails from us covering off a lot of our, we call compliance obligations. So we are required to provide you with a lot of information so you can know who you're dealing with. Financial advice is a really serious topic. It has real consequences and real importance. So it is very, very well regulated. And so we have a series of steps we need to follow through that. During that process, if you do have any questions or anything to ask or any thoughts at all, please let us know. We're more than happy to discuss everything that we do. We're as open and transparent as can be. We'll then have our first meeting, and we call that our discovery meeting. And that meeting is all about getting to know each other. Now, it's very possible that coming out of that meeting, we may not feel like it's a good fit, either you or I. But our intention in that is to work that out there and then. And by course of doing that, we'll get to know you pretty well and you'll get to know us pretty well. So we will talk about where you are now, where you've been previously, although we tend not to focus on the history too much just because we're all about building your future, not relitigating the past. So we try to give people a clean break, but we will talk about what you've been through, we'll talk about where you are now, and we'll get some idea of actually where you want to go. What kind of future do you have ahead of you, or do you want? We'll then talk about the 3 key points that we really want to know. What are your fundamental needs that you need to make sure are covered off every week, month, quarter, year? Beyond that, we need to make sure that foundation is secure. Beyond that is are really the wants. So what do you actually want out of life? What are things that are not compulsory, are not requirements to live, but they are requirements to have a life? So there's added extras that make life worthwhile. And we'll try to get an idea of what they are, your short-term ones and also your long-term ones. And that's where we interact with the idea of goals. We also need to talk about your worries, and this can be quite a confronting part of the conversation. It's really about getting an idea of what's keeping you up at night, what are you scared about, what are some of the things that we need to make sure are addressed. If we don't address them, we haven't done our job. Our job is measured by how confident you feel after working with us. Now, if we've failed or neglected to find out what your worries are, or we haven't addressed them, then we've failed. It's as simple as that. So we will talk a little bit about that. Tears are not unusual. They're not common, but they do happen. So it's a really, really in-depth conversation. So I do want to let you know about that in advance, but we've also had really, really good feedback about it. It is something that people afterwards seem to enjoy. Depending on that, if we both feel like it's a good fit, we'll then move on to the next stage. And what I might do, just to cut this video short, we might talk about that in a different one. Yeah, great. Thanks very much.